Hello. Big news this week is the Oregon UAS Accelerator has announced their latest cohort, and it is huge compared to previous cohorts. But before we get into that, this is the last news recap of the year and marks the second full year of news recaps that I've been doing. But thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I hope it's been informative. Probably next week I'll do a few roundups about the top 10 stories or top 10 videos or that kind of thing as well. But, and obviously I'll do a news recap next Friday, but the issue there is it will be 2026 by then. So again, thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure to get to hang out with you. I hope these recaps of stories are helpful to you and help you stay up to date on what's happening in the Portland startup community, the Oregon startup community, the startup world in general. It's always fun to get the chance to hang out with you and tell you about this stuff. Like the Oregon UAS Accelerator. If you're not familiar with the Oregon UAS Accelerator or you haven't heard me talk about it before, it is based in a flight facility in Pendleton, Oregon, which is in northeastern Oregon. One of the few facilities of its kind that allows for the testing and flight paths and monitoring of drones and drone-associated equipment and technologies. And so the folks out at Pendleton worked with the state to develop a startup accelerator program around the Oregon UAS Accelerator, or drones, unpersoned aerial systems, flying things that don't have people in them. Drones are the central focus of the accelerator, but any of the surrounding technologies or services or concepts, even anti-drone kind of technologies are accepted as part of the program. So they always get quite a few applications. They usually take a fairly typical cohort of 8 to 10 kind of startups to participate, but this time around they took 34. And the good news is 18 of those, so more than half, are from Oregon. Who from Oregon made it into the cohort? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you. Aerobond Secure Systems, Airship Technologies Group, Davis Consulting, DI-Fly, Drone Command, Droning On, EV Corp, Etherform, Half Rock Avionics, Humankind Homes, Krishibotics, Lorica Technologies, Mav Unlimited, Oregon UAV, Osprey CUAS, which I believe is counter drone, Para UAS, Rogue Renaissance, and C Stereo. And those are the Oregon companies that made it. Let me tell you, the folks outside of Oregon who will be participating in this hybrid program, so they don't have to be here the whole time. They can participate through some of the programming virtually, but they will also be here and hopefully taking advantage of the flight facilities out in Pendleton. Those outside of Oregon are Ag Hawk Dynamics out of Washington, American Tenet out of Indiana, Aurora Air out of Washington, BuzzCare out of Minnesota, FlyUp AV out of California, FlyX Technologies out of California, Genio out of California, GlowSense out of California, Haast Autonomous out of Texas, Narma US out of Texas, Nephili Air out of Wyoming, Nimbus Aerospace out of Washington, Outcome Group out of California, Outer Rim Exploration out of Delaware, Pachyderm Industries out of Washington, and Prairie Schooner out of South Korea.
Wow, it's a schooner.
You dumb bastard. It's not a schooner, it's a sailboat.
A schooner is a sailboat, stupid head.
Congratulations to all of those startups that were selected. Congratulations to everybody who applied. Thank you for following my prompt and at least taking the chance to apply to the Oregon UAS Accelerator. I'm glad you did. I, of course, can't wait to see the journey that each of these startups takes, how the Oregon UAS Accelerator helps them, and what they look like on the other side of this program. Okay, the other one may be a little bit nostalgic, but I always love when former founders, especially successfully exited former founders, come back and try a new startup idea. Maybe they're just eager to get back in the game. Maybe they have a new idea. Maybe something's frustrating them or there's too much friction. whatever the case, Nat Parker, the co-founder and CEO of Globe Sherpa, has started a new startup called Clean House. If you don't remember Globe Sherpa, they were one of the successful startup exits from the previous generation of startups here in Portland. They focused really on mass transit, public transit kind of ticketing systems to begin with. They had also been exploring concepts like ticketing for parking and those kind of things. So really expanding into being infrastructure for virtual digital ticketing for basically the metropolitan transportation infrastructure. To put it in a really, really complex way, they helped you get tickets to buses and trains and that kind of thing. They wound up getting acquired by a part of Daimler called Movil. Movil bought another company called Ride Scout and Globe Sherpa and kind of smushed them together into Movil. And then Nat Parker was heading up activities in Movil and building an office here in Portland. And then, of course, pandemic and things and stuff shifted, so things changed there. Nat would eventually leave and take some downtime. He would participate with Thai Oregon and some other groups that had been very helpful in the growth of Globe Sherpa. And then he, I guess, just kind of got the itch to come back and do something new, and that's with Clean House. Now, Clean House, German spelling of house, H-A-U-S, Clean House is really designed to be that middleware between people who are Airbnb hosts who may have cleaning crews that help them keep those properties, cleaned and turned over when after there's been a stay, make sure and refresh them and turn over everything and get them ready for the next day. Clean House is designed to facilitate that whole activity between Airbnb hosts and the folks who are cleaning or maintaining their facilities. So I don't know a ton about it yet. It's still in the very early stages in terms of public release. Like, I think you can sign up for a light version of it, but clearly there's a lot of more work that's going to go into that. I've seen a couple solutions in this space, none that has really dominated the space. So I think it's still pretty open. And given Nat's experience, especially with moving people and moving parts, I of course expect this to be a successful pursuit for him. I'm eager to learn more. We'll try and catch up with him. Maybe even get him on the Startup Stories podcast so we can chat with him a little bit about what he's building this time around. But all by way of saying, not a lot of news this week, but I did see this one and I wanted to highlight it because, as you know, I always love it when serial founders come back and start new companies. Okay. All right. That's it for the episode this week. Not a lot of news. It's slow news week with the the holidays and those kind of things. My throat's a little raspy. So I was having some tea. I wanted you to be able to see this. No Rudolph nose, but I really wish, if I drink it like this, it doesn't quite work. So I have to kind of show you that from time to time. Anyway, thanks for staying. This is the part of the episode where I just share a few secrets about stuff that's going on. I'm, and it's been another full year of recording and producing and editing and posting and all that kind of stuff every week. News story on startups in Portland or in Oregon. So I'm pretty proud that I've completed a second year, and I'm really happy that you've been tagging along with me for that. Next week, I think I may try and record top 10 news stories or best YouTube episodes or something along those lines. Maybe just a little recap before the Friday episode comes out, because obviously the Friday episode, as I said, will be in 2026. So that's a whole new year, whole new things going on. Get your New Year's energy going. I'm prepared to say Happy New Year for the next 3 to 4 months, because that's just kind of how I do things for some reason. But before we get to that new year, I shared last week that the sad news that Deadstock Old Town will be closing, the sneaker-themed coffee shop that's been going for 10 years, founded by Ian Williams. But we are going to be down there. A bunch of us are planning to be down there. Ian has invited people down December 31st, so planning to head down there and hang out and say goodbye to the Old Town location. It will still be in Beaverton. There will still be dead stock in Beaverton, but not in the Old Town location. So if you see this before December 31st and you want to come tell Ian how awesome he is, or thank him for all the community he's built, or just maybe even grab a coffee one last time at Deadstock before they shutter that location, I hope to see you down there. Should be a good gathering. Obviously, so many people love Ian. He's been such an amazing contributor and community organizer and all those kind of things. So it'll probably be a pretty big crowd. I wouldn't be surprised for it to be packed out. But again, if you would like to come down and show your support for Deadstock and all the work that Ian has done, I would encourage you to do that on December 31st. I would encourage you to continue to go until December 31st, maybe several times a day. But if you don't have the opportunity to do that, maybe just come hang out on the 31st and I might see you there. And that's about it. Recaps, go to the Deadstock thing. 2026 will be here before you know it. A whole bunch of stuff's already in planning. Talk to a lot of people who are thinking about a lot of interesting things in the new year, and I look forward to covering those and sharing more detail about those. But again, I sincerely hope you get some downtime during these 2 weeks, especially if you're in technology. These 2 weeks are always the slow weeks, and the week between Christmas and New Year's is always one of those that, even when I very, very first started in startups way back in the day, was always a very quiet week, always a good week to relax and recuperate and recharge and all the re's that you need. Do all the re's. Recuperate, recharge, relax, do all that, and kind of get yourself back. Don't use this time to just grind more and burn out. But I encourage you to get some downtime. It's been a great year hanging out with you, and I hope it's been helpful for you. If there are other things I could be doing that would be helpful, I'm always eager to hear. Okay, cool. Well, this is it for 2025 as far as news recaps go. I'll see you in 2026. And until we get the chance to chat again in 2026, please keep up the good work.